Now let's get into some more simplifying. In this case, we're going to simplify numbers and variables that are underneath your radicals. We're also going to get into some multiplication. So let's see what we can simplify here. For number 7, notice we have a 4 and an x squared. Now the nice thing about variables, actually let me not get to that point yet. If you want to simplify this 4, well, 4 is just a perfect square. So we could just say the square root of 4 is just a 2. Now whenever you get to variables, the nice thing about variables is you just take your exponent and you're going to divide by your index. Well, your index is this lovely little number out front, which is a 2, because it's a square root. We just don't write that 2. But there is a 2 there. It's kind of like whenever you have an x to the first, you don't write the 1, you just say x. So if we want to take, if we want to simplify our square root, if we want to take this 2 divided by 2, that is just a 1. So that means we're going to have a 2x as our answer. So variables are a little bit nicer than the numbers because you don't have to do any of the really difficult factor trees. So let's go, actually we're going to skip 8 and 9 and come back to those. Actually we're going to skip 8, let's do 9. So 20 is not a perfect square, so we can split that up. And that, by doing our factor tree, so that's going to be a 2 times a 10, 2 times a 5, and we get your pairs of 2's. So for those pairs of 2's, the 2's is going to come outside, the 5 is going to stay underneath. So you're going to have a 2, and then we're going to have a radical 5. Now for your exponents on your variables, you have an a squared. So we're going to take 2 divided by this 2 that's out here. So 2 divided by 2 gives us just an a to the first. So that comes to the outside. Let me get that red. So you have an a to the first on the outside. Now your b to the fourth, we're going to take 4 divided by 2, and that's going to be a b squared. So that's on the outside. There's no b's left over. 5 is all by its lonesome underneath your radical sign. All right, so let's try 10. 10 is very similar as 9. It's actually, we're going to skip 10. Let's go to number 11. 11, we're going to split up your 150. That's not a perfect square. So that's going to be 2 times 75, 3 times 25, and 5 times 5. So the only pairs that we have would be these 5. So we're going to have a 5 that comes to the outside. Now this 2 and this 3 are left underneath the radical, but you're going to have to multiply those here in a moment. So we're going to have 5 on the outside. We're going to have our square root of 2 times 3, which will just give us a 6. Now your exponents, so we have an a squared, b squared, and a c to the first. So for your a squared, 2 divided by 2 is just a 1, so a to the first. B, you have 2 divided by 2, which is a b to the first. And your c, 1 divided by 2, well 1 can't be divided by 2 nice and evenly, so we're just going to leave that c underneath here. So we're going to, there we go. And let's try number 12, last one here. We're going to split up your 45, so that's going to become a, you can't divide it by 2, so we're going to divide it by 3. That'll be 3 times 15, and remember you may do like 5 times 9 if that's easier for you. Then we're going to have 3 times 5, so your pair of 3's, and then 5 is left over, so 3's on the outside. Radical 5 on the inside. And we're going to break up your x squared, your y to the 5th, and your z to the 8th. So we're going to take x squared, 2 divided by 2 is a 1. Y to the 5th, now 5 divided by 2 is actually 2 with a remainder of 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to have an actual y squared on the outside. That's this 2. Your remainder of 1 means you're going to have a y to the first underneath. And then your z to the 8th, 8 divided by 2 is just z to the 4th. So that is how you're going to simplify something whenever you have it. Anytime you have an odd exponent, then your odd exponent is going to leave you with a remainder underneath. If they're even, then they should just divide out nice and pretty. So the last thing here is going to be multiplying by when you're multiplying radicals. So we're going to multiply the outside times the outside. 4 times 3 gives us 12. And then we're going to take the inside times the inside. So we're going to get a radical 60. Now, a lot of people want to be done right there, but we have a 60 underneath our radical. It's not perfect, but you could simplify this. 2 times 30, 2 times 15, and then 15 becomes 3 times 5, so you're looking for pairs, which would be your 2's out front. Now your 3 and your 5 don't have any pairs, so they're going to be left underneath. And you're going to end up with, this 12 is still outside. So you have this 12. However, we're going to have to multiply it by this pair of 2's that we brought out. So you bring out 1, 2. And then you have your remainder underneath of your 3 times your 5, which is going to end up, once you simplify all this, 12 times 2 gives us a 24, and then 3 times 5 gives us a radical of 15. So that is how you can multiply radicals. They're on the outside and on the inside.